Hey. There we go. Today you may notice I'm dressed more casually. I don't have all the elbow pads and knee pads. I do have a backpack, which is how most people would travel. It's got 25, I would say probably 35 pounds of weight. Why is this backpack so heavy, you may ask? Well, amongst many other things, it has a big, heavy rolling pin right here, nice and solid. Okay. Also has this nice, solid pumpkin. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Oh yeah, you see where we're going with this? Pumpkin, rolling pin. Besides being used to roll out dough, it can also be used to crush nuts. These are acorns, or oak seeds, if you would. You just kind of smash it down, give it a good solid smash. I like to cup it with my hand so it doesn't go fly everywhere. You may want to wear some safety protection for your eyes. Anyways, just give it a good solid whack like this. And voila, you can crack your nuts. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. No, but interestingly enough, when you crack open an acorn seed, if you look, the insides are bright orange, just like a pumpkin. Coincidence? Hey, you know what else is orange? I want to give a shout out to this company right here, Patriot Wholesale Club. PatriotWholesaleClub.com. I just got this recently. This right here is an emergency sleeping bag. It's made out of the same mylar material that NASA uses. So it's very lightweight. As you see, it can fit in your pocket, right? But this is a sleeping bag, and it unfolds from this orange bag right here. The color for the day is orange. And when you pull it out, that's not a very pleasant color, but anyways, there's your safety sleeping bag. And you can see I'm going to want to camouflage this right away, but not right now. Maybe later today. Anyways, staying focused on the subject of pumpkins and rolling pins, I may include all the ingredients for the following recipe in the description box of this said video, or perhaps in a comment afterwards if I forget to include it in the description box. So anyways, here we go. And you guess what we're going to do? I mentioned in a previous episode, you should already know. That's right, I'm going to attempt for the first time in my life to make a pumpkin pie from scratch. A real pumpkin pie. And not even baked in an oven, like in the comfort of your own home if you see I'm outside. This is the stealth stove that I used for a previous episode where I ate the tarantula. The fried tarantula was actually pretty delicious. But anyways, the fire is contained inside there. I've got the brick set up. I'm going to put the wood right in there, start the fire, and then I'm going to set the pie on top of that and let it bake for 45 minutes to an hour. We'll see how long it takes. First, we got to carve up this pumpkin. Okay, I guess we should begin by making the mealy pie crust. Alright, so for that you're going to need 1 1/4 cup of flour. Okay, so you're going to need 1 cup and 1/4 cup of flour. So that's 1 cup. You're going to want a bowl to mix it into, by the way. And some of the utensils we'll get to that are kind of obvious as you see. So you may want to take notes along the way. So that was 1 cup of flour, and now we got a 1/4 cup measurement. And that fits into this little bowl right here, comfortably. Okay, next you're going to need a 1 teaspoon of finely ground cinnamon. Or you can just give it about 8 or 10 shakes from the container. That's probably about 12 shakes, but there's 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, plus a couple, a little bit more, it's gonna be extra cinnamony. If I said tablespoon, I meant teaspoon. This is a teaspoon. You're also going to need a teaspoon of sugar. Actually, the recipe calls for half a teaspoon. I say a teaspoon, maybe half a teaspoon. Okay, half a teaspoon of sugar. And a half a teaspoon of salt. So before you get started, obviously, you're going to want to make sure you have the ingredients. You're going to make sure you have something to put it in and mix it with. You're going to want to have some sort of utensil to mix it with also. And you're going to want to have a pie tin to put the dough in after you roll it out. So you're going to want some wax paper probably to roll it out on, you know, a flat, smooth surface. Right now we're on concrete and an old man in a parking lot, so I'll use that as my surface with some wax paper to roll the dough out once we make the dough. But also before you bake your pie, you're going to want some wood for the fire. You're going to want some fire starting instruments, light or however you're going to do that with. And you want some hot pads so you don't burn your hands once you go to pull the pie off of the fire. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is obvious, but some people don't know this thing, so I'm mentioning those things just for those who may not or may happen to overlook them. Basically what I'm saying is be prepared. And don't be scared, but be aware. I'm going to go ahead and stir up these ingredients while they're dry because they will mix well, okay? And then I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of water and a half a cup of cold butter, or if you didn't know, that's the equivalent of 1 stick of butter. Now that calls into question when you're in apocalyptic circumstances, where are you going to get your butter? But today we're blessed to have some butter. Okay, so it's going to be 5 tablespoons of water. Purified water. You don't want to just scoop it directly out of your creek. That's 2, 3, 4, 5 tablespoons. I mean teaspoons. Why do I keep saying tablespoons? I think big. Teaspoons. I meant teaspoons. So to recap on that, as I'm stirring this up, that was 1 1/4 cup flour, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, a half a teaspoon sugar, half a teaspoon salt, 1/2 cup or 1 stick of cold butter, and 5 teaspoons. Wait, that was 5 tablespoons. Oh, that's why. Great, now I got to do the math. What is 5 tablespoons minus 5 teaspoons? Okay, since I'm doing this for the first time, obviously I messed up. This is the teaspoon, this is a tablespoon. You can see the size difference. You can see there's approximately 1, 2, 3 teaspoons per 1 tablespoon, I'm going to say. So if you have 5 teaspoons, then that's approximately 1 2/3 of a tablespoon. So what you need is 2 1/3 tablespoons water to add to that to equal that out. My first guess was 3 tablespoons. That would have been a little bit too much. Did I say teaspoon? I meant tablespoon. This is tea, and that's a spoon. And that was a joke, but I was also being serious. Alright, so anyways, you just want to work it together, stir it up. If you want to get messy, you can work it in with your hands like this until it begins to get meaty into little clumps like that, as you see, right? I'm going to add an egg to this. I'm not sure, but I think it calls for at least 1, maybe 2 eggs. I'm really not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and add an egg just because. Anyways. Oh, for those of you who are taking notes and paying attention, you may have noticed I forgot to add the butter. Duh. Yeah, can't forget the butter. Okay, so you're going to want to just kind of break it off into little pieces or cut it into squares, chop it up with a butter knife, perhaps. See what I did there? No, but I'm serious, being serious. That's what it's for. That's why it's called a butter knife. Anyways, you don't want to get it on your hands, or then you'll have butter fingers, and you'll be dropping things. That's what that means. Anyways, now ideally, you would be in a kitchen with a mixer, and you would just set it to mix, and it would mix your dough for you. But I came to get messy. So if you see, it's kind of a mess right now. I'm going to pause this while I stir this. It may take some time. Okay, that's good right there, yeah. Now, once you get it all mixed up, you want to roll out your piece of wax paper, fairly good size, like that. Lightly try to tear it off. Yeah, then you just use the roller to smooth it out some. Oh man, I should have put flour on the roller first. Dang, man. Yeah, flour helps keep it from sticking. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. I should mention, if you're outside trying to cook in the fall, you want to try to watch out for leaves falling in your food. Alright, now let's get to the main part, the pumpkin. Now, I should mention, if I haven't already, that a large size like you see sitting outside people's houses, a carving pumpkin will not have as much inside it as a pie pumpkin. So let's carve this thing. Basically, I'm just using a steak knife to cut a little circle here around the stem of the pumpkin. See, you want to watch out for your thumbs and your fingers, of course. Always be careful. The shell is fairly tough if you've never carved a pumpkin before, by the way. Anyways, you just pull the cork out and there's the inner guts, if you would, the stringy part, and the pumpkin seeds. Now, I'm not going to carve a face into this thing according to the superstition of the tradition of scaring away evil spirits with a pumpkin. Really? But anyways, you want to just carve a hole in the top that you can fit your hand in. Or if you don't want to get your hand messy, you could just continue to use the knife to scrape away from the sides on the inside. If you can see how I'm doing that, you just kind of scrape along the inner edges and it'll loosen it up from the walls. And then after you do that, or you could use a spoon, would be pretty effective. Yeah, okay, so I'll loosen this up with the knife and then come back with a spoon. Doesn't have to be a large spoon, but something to carve out these seeds, because if you didn't know, pumpkin seeds are very good for you also. I'll get to all the nutritional benefits and stuff while the pie is actually on the fire. Man, I've already taken up 10 minutes of your time just getting ready for it. Anyways, here we go. Pile out those seeds right there, along with all the stringy stuff, and then you separate the stringy stuff from the seeds, give them a little rinse, and then we're going to coat them with some butter too, because roasted pumpkin seeds are good for you. Hey, that rhymed. Okay, so after carving out the inside of your pumpkin, that's about how many pumpkin seeds you got there. You know, good sized handful, a couple handfuls, enough to roast and snack on. Now, pumpkin seeds, also known as pepitas, contain 600 milligrams of tryptophan per 100 grams. Now, tryptophan is the same ingredient that increases deep sleep after eating on Thanksgiving. Pumpkin seeds also have properties that help with prostate function and erectile dysfunction, and may improve sperm quality and healthy testosterone levels in manly men. Although most people prefer eating them cooked or roasted, you can also eat pumpkin and pumpkin seeds raw, as it is easy to digest. Fresh carved pumpkin. Now, to get to the inside of this, you either cut it into a bunch of cubes, or you can just use a rolling pin or a baseball bat and batter up. Or you can take a good sized brick and smash it. This is a dirty brick, so I don't want to use that. Anyways, yeah, this brick looks a little cleaner. Alright, so before you start getting to the messy part, you can either lay out another sheet of wax paper, or if you want easier cleanup, perhaps just use a bag like this. It's actually not that large, but I'm going to go with that to conserve on wax paper. Okay, so for this, you're going to need 3/4 cups sugar, and the special ingredient that makes it taste so good, I'm not sure what they put in this stuff because they don't tell you, but it's called pumpkin pie spice. Now, this little container right here costs upwards of $5 easy, and this is the McCormick brand. Anyways, you're going to want 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You mix in all your pumpkins after you smash it up and turn it into a nice mush, you know, because you want to be able to smooth it out. It's easy to mix up, you'll see. Anyways, then you're going to want to add, 1.25 cups of evaporated milk. Or you could use half and half, or perhaps regular milk that's watered down slightly. But the recipe that I looked up called for 1 1/4 cups evaporated milk. And 2 eggs beaten. No, I mean in a mixing bowl, duh. And a crust to put your pie on, and a pie pan, which we've already established. Alright. Well, the brick smashing method actually works pretty good for a pumpkin. You may have heard of a band called Smashing Pumpkins. That's unrelated. But anyways, back to pumpkin pie. Oh man, this is messy. But that's so good. Alright, anyways, once you get your ingredients all mixed up good, just pour them into your pie crust. Oh, I didn't show you. Anyways, moving on. You fill up your pie crust like that with your mix. Oh man, I got it on my hands. That's good. And it's good for you. There you go. Boom, look at that. Fit perfectly. It worked out great. I know I kind of skipped past things for time. Sorry about that. So once again, that was 3/4 cup sugar, 1.5 teaspoons pumpkin pie spice, 1.5 teaspoon salt, your pumpkin mix, or your smashed up pumpkin, I should say, 1 1/4 cups evaporated milk, 2 eggs beaten up, and your crust to put it on. And there you go. Now we're gonna get the fire going, put this on, get it cooking. Here we go. This is where it gets real fun. Alright, we have fire. Come on. Yeah. Alright, got the fire started. As you see, I lifted the tire wheel up. That's what I'm going to use to enclose this like an oven. So it will hold in the heat, but it will allow the smoke to evaporate out. So you also want to cover it up with some foil before you put it on the fire. If you were cooking in an oven, you would cover it with foil too. Alright, so then you carefully, this is the dangerous part, I'm going to put this on top of the bricks that I have spaced next to the fire. Okay. Ooh, sitting right on the fire. Let's get that over. Once again, be careful. I'm not afraid of fire, obviously. Alright, so if you can see, I got the bricks spaced on top of the fire right there with the pie sitting directly on the fire. That might actually be too close to the heat. I'm not sure. I hope this doesn't burn it up because it's my first time to try to do this. I may not actually need to enclose it like that. I probably should have raised it up some. Yeah, I think I'm going to raise that up on a couple bricks so it's not burning. Remember, if you make a mistake like this, make sure you use your hot pads. Be careful. You don't want to put your hands in the fire. So quickly and carefully lift it up off of the fire like that. See how tall that fire is? Yeah. So I'm going to raise it up like this on some bricks. Okay, get it up off the fire. See how it was burning it pretty good. Okay, now set it down like that. Okay, that should be perfect right there. Now, that would help to hold in the heat like that. There you go. There's the fire from below. There's the pie on the fire. Stealth fire. You don't see it from a distance. All you see is a tire. What's that? I smell something cooking. Alright, let's talk firewood real quick. This is resonated pine wood. The resonated pine stumps, or tree stumps of a pine tree. Burns really well. In order for a pumpkin pie to effectively cook, it needs to be between 350 to 400 degrees for 45 minutes to maybe an hour and 20 minutes. Now that's for in a conventional oven. Okay, cedar and pine both burn at around 650 degrees. Oak burns 1,000 degrees hotter. So we're not using oak wood unless you want to seriously scorch your food. So cedar or pine will work fine. Be sure to feed the fire from both sides so it cooks evenly. Okay, now here's some nutritional informationals for you. Orange winter squash, also known as pumpkin, include vitamin A and C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, and iron. All of these help to strengthen our immune system. While commonly viewed as a vegetable, pumpkin is scientifically a fruit, as it contains seeds. Nutritionally, it is more similar to veggies as it contains protein, carbs, fiber. Pumpkin is low in calories as it is 94% water. Pumpkin is high in antioxidants and is plentiful in nutrients that promote strong eyesight as our body ages. And it may lower your risk of cancer and improve heart health. For example, people with higher potassium intake appear to have lower blood pressure and reduced risk of strokes. It reduces inflammation, and pumpkin also protects skin cells against damage from harmful UV rays. Simply put, like elderberries, pumpkin is a superfood. So scoop out the stringy seeds and, anyways, all that stuff. There you go. Make a pie. So just keep feeding the fire periodically as it begins to cook down. Keep the fire at a steady, even heat consistency. Alright, you see how tall that fire is, right? The pie is right there in the middle of it. And if that fire is between 600 and 650 degrees, and we only need it to be 350 to 375 or 400 degrees, then instead of cooking it for 45 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes, it'll only take about 22 and a half to 30 minutes, right? And it feels like about 15 and a half, maybe 20 minutes. I haven't really been keeping count. Oops. That's okay though, because I have this meat thermometer, which will tell me when the internal temperature reaches 175 degrees. It smells delicious, by the way. And if you listen, you can hear it sizzle. That's also the crackling of the wood. Pumpkin pie on an open fire. Okay, now once again, this calls in a certain safety concern. If you have a meat thermometer that's only the length of your finger and you have to reach that close to the fire, you're going to want to be careful. But coincidentally, it happens to be using this method. If you see, it kind of shields you from the fire because the fire is on the outer edges. So on the center, meat thermometer says, okay, wait for it. Honestly, I've never used one of these, so I'm not sure. It looks like it says 190. Okay. Well, as you might have guessed, it dripped out of the pan and put the fire out. And here come the helicopters. Because when you put out the fire, that creates a lot of smoke. And gotta go. Alright, well, I'm back, and as you can see, the smoke is still going. Let's see how the pie turned out, huh? Remember, use your hot pads to lift up this tire well. Okay. Use a brick to hold it in place so it doesn't roll away. A large brick, that is. Alright, let's pull this thing off the fire, see how it turned out, huh? Let's see. Fresh roasted pumpkin seeds. If you see, I put them on top of the foil. Quick, easy way to roast the pumpkin seeds. Make it roast a little better, I think. That was kind of a last minute idea. Anyways, let's take the foil off of this and see how low it is. Oh yes, oh yes, yes, yes. Well, I don't know. That looks like that should be good. I'm gonna not open it up all the way yet because it's still hot. You're gonna want to let it cool down before you eat it, unless you want to just melt your tongue or something. But there you go. A roasted pie on an open fire. Pumpkin pie on an open fire. Actually, this is smoked pumpkin pie. That's okay. Alright, so this has been another episode of Prepping for the Apocalypse. And as always, stay safe, be careful, and God bless you. And may your efforts in making a pumpkin pie on an open fire be just as successful, because considering turned out pretty good, I think. Somebody's like, "I didn't even eat the thing, man." Okay, here we go. Check it out. Oh, that's hot. I told you I was hot. But that is so good too. And I am not joking.